Oh, hello. My name is Brian Pizzillo, and today we're going to be discussing construction contracts. We're going to be talking about a number of the different types of contracts that are in existence, the differences between them, the pros and cons, as well as certain provisions which arguably cannot be enforced in certain jurisdictions. So we will cover those main topics. The goal being in 1 hour is primarily to really make everybody aware of key issues related to the construction contracts. This can be a very complicated area. It varies jurisdiction by jurisdiction, so some of what we talk about will apply in one jurisdiction but not another, and I'll try to highlight those areas where the issues are jurisdiction dependent and you need to be aware of what is happening in your jurisdiction, and laws are constantly in a state of flux. And some of the issues that we're going to talk about today have and will continue to change. To give you a little bit of background about myself, I've been practicing law now going into my 26th year. For pretty much all of those years, I have practiced in the construction area. I represented everybody from small mom and pop subcontractors and suppliers up to large owners and developers, as well as subcontractors and general contractors. So as we talk through the issues today, I'll kind of try and point out, the perspective that we need to have on contracts, because obviously the interest of a general contractor is not necessarily the same as that of a subcontractor, and so the contract documents perhaps want to be worded differently depending upon what vantage point you're coming at it from. But what I always like to tell people is construction contracts are the beginning, and it's kind of like the foundation of any building you build. In addition to having practiced in this area for a while, I am an arbitrator with the American Arbitration Association, and I serve on a number of their panels, including the construction panel and the large complex construction panel. And through that, I've seen a variety of different issues that have arisen. And I can pretty much tell you every time that a dispute arises, we end up coming back to the contract. And so it is imperative to get this portion of a project done properly. So with that, I'm kind of jumping into the different areas of contract law and construction contracts. I always advise my clients, pay particularly close attention to your contract. The reason being is it is something that you have control over. So there'll be a lot of aspects to a construction project that you simply can't control. You may not be able to control the actions of a subcontractor or a supplier with whom you don't have a contract. If you are a supplier or subcontractor, you can't control the actions of an owner once the project begins. What you can do, though, is protect yourself by having a good contract in place that hopefully anticipates unknowns that always end up arising on a construction project, and offers protections for you so that you can respond in a manner that is appropriate to protect your interests, whether you're the general dealing directly with an owner or whether you are a supplier that is removed by multiple tiers from that relationship. No matter what, you still need to be able to protect yourself and anticipate events that might occur. So when we talk about the different aspects of a construction project and ultimately what you want, which is a completed project and money, I always try and tell my clients that, as we can see on the first slide, when we talk about remedies in the event of non-payment, you really have three different types. And that's a mechanics lien, a contract, and or a personal guarantee that might be on that contract, and potentially payment bonds. And payment bonds certainly are your exclusive remedy on a public works project. More and more, I have seen private developers require the use of payment and performance bonds on projects. If you are representing an owner and you have an interest in protecting the project, this is an area you might want to include in the contract. So while we're not going to be discussing it in great depth, you do want to note that protecting the project from an owner's point of view can be done with the contract in requiring a payment bond, so that in the event you have an unpaid subcontractor or supplier, the bond will come into play, and rather than having the project encumbered by a mechanics lien, that bond would serve as security. Typically, that would be the owner requiring that from the general contractor.